guys, it's Alyssa Krall in EDU 260, and this is our reading strategy video. I have technique 9, which is found on page 121 of our textbook. The technique is showing, not telling. And so just a little bit of background on this technique is that it's using illustrations to show the extent of what the author wants to say. When you're reading a book, generally the text is really brief, and then the illustrations of picture books will go into greater detail. And so this just helps our students understand the importance of detail, how important the illustrations actually are in our picture book. And there are different examples of this in our textbook, but the book that I am actually going to show is Fancy Nancy. Fancy Nancy is one of my all-time favorite children's books. I think it's such a cute book. The author does such a good job. It's written by Jane O'Connor and illustrated by Robin Glasser. So, the first example I have is actually right on the first page. The wording says, "I love being fancy." And that's a pretty broad, general statement, but if you look at the illustrations of our book here, you can kind of see the detail that the illustrator does on these pages. It shows her decorations in her bedroom, how what she's wearing is fancy, just about kind of everything in this textbook here, or this picture book, is fancy. It draws on that statement. The next page that I have, let me find it here a second, is, "The trouble is my family doesn't own anything fancy at all." And that's another pretty general statement, but if you look at the picture here, the illustrator is using these pictures to draw on what the author has said. You can see the parents and the little brother dressed in pretty regular clothes, and you can see what they have in their closets, and in their hands are all like grays, blacks, blues. They're not fancy clothes, and so it's drawing on that extent of what Nancy has said about her family. And then the final example that I have is on one of these last pages here. It says, "I carry the tray like a fancy waiter. Oops, I trip, I slip. The tray does a double flip." And when you're reading that, the words are exciting, but if you didn't have these illustrations, you wouldn't be able to see the extent of the problem in the story. You can see in this picture here, Nancy's carrying her ice cream sundaes for her family, and she starts to trip. And in this one, you can see the extent of that fall and how much detail that actually adds to the story. So that is how the book Fancy Nancy uses illustrations to show, not tell, the story, and then work with the writing on that. So that's technique 9, showing, not telling.